Blog Talk Radio.
Season 7, debate talk for you. GMG, seek truth. Listen, I'm on a get knowledge mission. Debate talk for you is a Great Lake decision. You know a war got a blaze in the kitchen. If the seat too hot, don't try to sit in. We touch topics to bless you, yes. And plus we gotta line up a special guest. You heard about Josh, he the champion. Absolute Bible truth is the champion. Can't forget Zadok, the brother always stay hot. And the KOJ is like a rank on top. Shout out Emunah. Relationship issues gonna have to get dealt with either later or sooner. Live on air, when Sal hit the button, it ain't no front, you better ride prepared. Put it out, look at how hard you went. Can the other side handle your argument? When the question pops, now is your chance to respond. Don't dodge like why is it sick? Waiting for the answer, like 1996 in the NBA draft when AI was the pick. Man in the mirror, wake up, use your head. It's not a hat rack, begin a new era. Shows like this be few to none. And where we come from, speak the Hebrew tongue. Take down notes, the audience votes, and then check back in to see who won. Debate talk for you, for you, debate talk for you, 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 for you.
Study to show thyself approved. You're now listening to Debate Talk V Radio.
This is Frank Nowak, coming straight out of Phoenix, Arizona, aka the Soldier of Faith, aka the Catholic. When I'm not exegeting scriptures according to the early church or studying the church fathers, I'm listening to Debate Talk for You with Sal Showtime. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, sicut erat in principio et nunc et in seculum seculorum. Amen.
All praises, all honor, all glory to the supreme intellect of the universe. This is Nasi Yashuvel of Shomrei HaTorah in Atlanta. And if I'm not reading my Torah or suplexing some false deity, I'm listening to my man, Sal Showtime, and Debate Talk for You Radio. Beautiful. Keep doing the good work, brother, bringing forth the information and spreading that love.
Peace and blessings to everyone that's listening. This is Moreh Yakel, the mighty Hebrew, Lion of Judah with Campaign for Biblical Literacy Ministries, walking in the way of my forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, observing the Torah, slaying devils, and manifesting the blessing of the Most High. Come by, pay us a visit by going to my website at www.campaignforbiblicalliteracy.com and by going to my YouTube channel at Campaign for Biblical Literacy Ministries. Shalom.
Never allow the possibility of your heart desire to trouble your mind, whether it is success or happiness, because your mind is a powerful machine that is very capable of manifesting anything that it conceives and believes in. Become more enlightened about life in the subconscious mind by visiting quotesforthemind.com. You are only as strong as the thoughts that constantly dwell in your mind. Therefore, never allow any negative belief about your abilities in life to be granted shelter in your mind. Edmund Mbiaka, quotesforthemind.com.
If you need an added push to have your products heard by 1,000 listeners out there, come advertise on Debate Talk for Radio. All you need to do is send me an email at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com, and it's a $25 fee for a whole year to advertise, whether it be a live event, a book signing, merchandise, website, or if you have your own radio show that you'd like to promote. Once again, advertise right here on Debate Talk for Radio. Take advantage of the low fee. Trust me, no one else will give you such a low fee to advertise via worldwide radio. So once again, send me an email at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com for more details.
Hi, this is Tyrone Thompson, host of the Blog Talk Radio broadcast Talk Real Solutions. Please tune in and listen to all of our shows 7 nights a week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At Talk Real Solutions, we cover a variety of topics to ensure we speak about what may be needed in our community at any time. Talk Real Solutions is the hottest blog talk radio show going on right now. You can listen to our broadcast at www.blogtalkradio.com/talkrealsolutions or visit our website at www.talkrealsolutions.com. Also like our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/talkrealsolutions. You can call in at any time during the show and add to the conversation and offer your solutions at 1-858-357-8453. That's 1-858-357-8453. Because at Talk Real Solutions, we want to make sure you have a chance to talk real solutions.
What's going on, brothers and sisters? This is Brother Stanley Sylvain of Sin No More Ministries. I'm letting you know that every time I'm not putting together some lessons to bless the people out there, I am definitely listening to Sal Showtime and Debate Talk for You. God bless you all. Peace.
This is Renald Francoeur representing from Atlanta, Georgia. And when I'm not busy in the studio, I'm checking out Debate Talk for You Radio. Keep up the great work, Sal Showtime.
Hey, what's going on, family? How you guys doing? Welcome to another show. You're now listening to Season 7 of Debate Talk B Radio. Of course, I'm your host, Sal Showtime, and it is Monday. You know what that means. It's the Relationship Challenge segment on Debate Talk B Radio. Of course, we appreciate all the listeners out there that's tuning in via phone and via Skype by that number, 319-527-6239. Today's show is entitled, Broke Pockets, Broken Homes, Who Leads? Once again, topic is broke pockets, broken homes, who leads? Of course, the show wouldn't be what it is without the host of the show. She's been doing a lot of work on social media. You can check her out on her social media outlets. Of course, what I'll do, I'm going to put all of that information in the description box. This is Emunah Israel. Welcome to the show.
Hi, but praise be to the Most High. Greetings and welcome, Brother Sal. I am glad to be here. Like you say, putting in a lot of work and just winding down for the day, but not until we have this very important conversation. So I look forward to it. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, doing my thing, I see you doing your thing, too, as well. Like I said, you're the hardest working woman on social media, man. You're doing your thing out there, See you all over YouTube and all of that.
You gotta put out good, a lot of talking going on. It's not just something I do on Monday nights. It is my life, as it relates to sharing tools for healing. So,
yeah, that's right. This is real. It's real life. That's right. We live this every day. There we go.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to the home panel, of course. Let's go to the home panel, and I invited a few special guests. If you guys out there, I see people pressing number 1, but special guests, if you're out there that's pressing number 1, I will bring you in. But let me bring in the home panel first. Of course, let me go to my brother, who hosts the show A Night of Fire on Tuesdays, and he is here tonight in the home panel. This is Ahwar Da Swordsman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, Sal? How you doing, my sister? How's everything?
What's up, Brother Ahwar?
Doing okay.
Good to hear you.
All right. Yeah, I just want to put it out there tomorrow. We'll do another episode. We did last week, Worshiping Satan, and tomorrow's topic is What's the Purpose of the Messiah? It's going to be a hot show, so if y'all not doing nothing, come on, break bread and listen to the listen to me bring out some understanding. And that's all I'm going to say right now.
All right, that's Ahwar Da Swordsman right here on Debate Talk Radio, home panel. Let's go to my next home panelist. Definitely, she's another hard-working woman out there. Her YouTube page is out there as well. Make sure you go subscribe and put all that information in the description box. Also, if you want some creative flyers for your, to advertise your book signings, events, your YouTube page, radio shows, things of that nature, make sure you reach out to my sister right here. This is Sister Mayanah. Welcome to the show.
Hey, shalom, everybody. How y'all doing?
All right.
What's up, Sister Mayanah? Hey, shalom, Father. You know what it is.
Any words you want to say with the people before we begin?
Oh, I want to give my greetings to the listening audience. As always, I'm grateful to be here, and I'm appreciative of the feedback of the beautiful people in the community. As the brother stated, you can always reach out to me if you have any type of print work or scribal work that you need done. I can help to edit important or professional documents, as well as creating promotional flyers, be they for print work or digital work. If you need to contact me by email, you can do so at m.inc.info@gmail.com.
We appreciate your sister, Mayanah. Okay.
Give me one second. Also, I wanted to say just a reminder to everyone that although, we've been in the trenches and we've been addressing several topics that are important to the people, particularly the women, I haven't forgotten my responsibilities to you. The book that I promised you should be available by the spring of 2017, so hold me to it and keep in contact with me.
Oh, yeah, we shall hold you to that. We will hold you to that, definitely. All right, so like I mentioned, I invited a few special guests, and I see, let's see if this is one of them right now. 559, who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Huldah Dauid. I'm from California.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Greetings and welcome.
Yeah, let the people know a little bit about yourself, a little bit, put out your YouTube channel, things of that nature.
Okay, my YouTube channel is Her Royal Roots. We kind of discuss a lot of women's issues and topics relating to what it means to be a woman in truth, also some beginning biblical Hebrew, and I also have a podcast online under Her Royal Roots, and we also deal with those same topics of what is the call of the woman based upon her nature and her makeup, and how that relates to the men in the Hebrew community.
Yeah, well, I definitely appreciate you being here. Actually, Sister Emunah put me onto your channel, and definitely appreciate all the content on there. So, once again, we welcome you to the show. We appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, so let's get it started. Of course, the rules, no foul language, got to keep it clean, keep it professional. And, of course, if you're not speaking, or anybody on the panel, if you're not speaking, just mute your phones to avoid any background noises. But, Emunah, take it away. Actually, Emunah called us drop. All right, let's wait for the call back in. Actually, I invited Ashanti. If you're out there, Ashanti, you got to press number 1 as well if you're out there. Ashanti, and press number 1, and we'll bring you in the conversation as well. But Emunah call drop. She's gonna call back in. Sometimes Blog Talk Radio acts up like that, but she's gonna call right back in. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. Later on, you're gonna send me a question in your comments out there, people. We're gonna hear from you guys. Hear what you guys got to say about this particular show. Here you go, Emunah. All right, Emunah, you can take it away. Go ahead.
Yes, sorry about that. My finger inadvertently pressed the hang-up button. My apologies. Once again, all praise be to the Most High, the Holy One of Creation. Give thanks for all those who have tuned in. Welcome, Sister Huldah, to the panel. And once again, as Brother Sal said, continue to do the work that you're doing. It is much needed. We need all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck. That's the kind of party we at right about now, because the time is late. And so we wanted to talk about broke pockets, broken home, who leads. And the reason is here we speak about a lot of issues that we are presently in. There are things that we're supposed to be. There are things that we see that we used to be culturally when we were intact within the scriptures. And then we have our reality. And here on Debate Talk for You, on the relationship segment, we speak about the reality a lot because that's kind of the part that's missing for a lot of people. And so when we're in a space where people are returning to the law, statutes, and judgments and commandments as well, and women have been in breadwinner roles, and women have gone to places and gotten higher education, and they're coming into these constructs where scripturally the man is supposed to be the head, meaning providing, protecting, and things of that nature, and in actuality she is doing so. It kind of throws off the dynamic, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today, as well as the man maybe not being employed or blaming Babylon for the downfalls, or the system as to why they cannot provide for their children or their household. Is not discrediting our reality, but how do we deal with it honestly? What does the Torah says about this? What do the wisdom sayings say about it? And how can we help some people or shed some light in some spaces that they may be having problems with? Because money or lack thereof and debt is a stressor, and it is a major contributor. When you look at the top reasons why people divorce, it is also a major contributor. And how does that measure up with the polygyny conversation, where people who don't have gainful employment think that the powerhouse structure, and we talked about this before a couple of episodes, actually it was last season, that polygyny is a way of getting out of debt, and gathering the women together and encouraging them to work is really what's going to help the situation. And there has been a lot of, let's just say, things to investigate as it relates to this. A lot of lives have been, turned upside down. A lot of children have been affected. And I don't want to say that it's all entirely bad, because I don't know everyone's story, but it's definitely a point that we have to speak to. So, we're gonna go to everyone for their opening statements at first, and then we're gonna proceed from there. So, Brother Ahwar, broken pocket, broken home. Who's leading? Brother Ahwar, the mic is yours.
Oh, okay. To me, that's a conversation. It has a positive and it has a negative. Now, the positive, like in the place of a woman, scriptures talk about a virtuous woman, Proverbs 31. And that's a woman that take initiative to cover areas of the household that's lacking in certain parts, like the finances, whatever, and she still stays in order. You know what I'm saying? Still play a part, make it happen. She don't complain. Then there's a negative side to it where she, any situation can happen. Like a man can either fall ill or he can lose his job, or maybe he's working on something to get them to a better place where it takes sacrifice. And some women are not spiritual enough to fall in place and stay in order, where they get emotional and start complaining and being more of a problem than an asset. So that's where a lot of headaches come in too. Now, if both people can maintain that righteousness, where they're humble or give understanding and communication, I think they can work through anything. That's just my opinion on it, and I'll pass the mic.
Now, Brother Ahwar, we know we're in the opening statements, but you said some triggers in your conversation. So I just want to ask you before I go to Sister Huldah and then to Sister Mayanah. You said that if this woman begins to feel resentful or indifferent in compensating financially, that is because she lacks spirituality?
Well, a negative woman, like a virtuous woman, which I think is a spiritual, positive woman. Sometimes they can see the plan, the vision, where, say, the man is, I'll give an example. Like, there are times where a man, say he's working somewhere where he's not making good money. So he says, well, I'm going to quit this because it's really a waste of time. So he said, look, I quit that job. He made the decision. I quit that job because I want to do this. You hold it down till I, get to this. But she gets, like, emotional, like, nah, why did you do that? We got bills to pay. You know what I'm saying? If she gets negative, you know. But a spiritual woman, if she sees a vision and she says it makes more sense, she'll just go get something to compensate for him the time that he's off or whatever. That's what I mean by that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we're going to be coming back, Brother Award. But this is the overly statement. Thank you for the clarification. Sister Huldah, welcome to the show. We're getting popping real early. Sister Huldah, welcome to the show. Broke Pockets, Broken Home, Who Leads? What are your thoughts on, opening? Of course, we're going to have time to come around. We go around the table. But for right now, it's just your opening thoughts on that conversation. The mic is yours.
Okay. Shalom. So I find it hard not to at least mention something from the last statement, which is the idea of a virtuous woman. And a virtuous woman is a standard of a woman. And so with that particular standard of a woman, and in a situation where she is picking up the slack, I don't necessarily like that term, because I guess we are a family or a community, and we all carry each other's burden. So I wouldn't say that was a negative. But what I do believe in is something called hope deferred. So if a woman is in a situation where she's having to carry the burden of the family, there should be some kind of plan implemented. I don't think it should be something that is that she's stuck doing forever, and especially if it causes her to deviate from her other roles. So I talk a lot about the idea of duality or balance. And so if the woman is in turn taking on the burden of a masculine role, not necessarily a male role, but a masculine role, then the man in turn should be able to help the woman in areas. I know a lot of women who don't mind working or supporting, but then they are at the same time expected to then also carry out all their other duties that are their given roles as a woman. So I don't know where that balance comes in. Does she also get a break from some of those other things, or is the man in that situation willing to supplement in the area where she would then be lacking by taking on a role outside of the home, or is she expected to work 8 hours or 10 hours a day, come home, bathe, homework, homeschool children, and then still have time to burn the midnight oil also? So I don't know where the balance in that is. I believe that anything can work when there's balance. I know the issue or the topic of polygyny comes up to create balance, but even in a situation like that, I believe that there would still have to be some set rules or boundaries that create a system that is functional.
All right. Can I be heard?
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, you have little technical issues over here too. I just want to let you know. We have I know. We have Ashanti Rock here. Ashanti Rock. She's here as well. Let me introduce her. Ashanti, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sal. Shalom to the panel. Shalom to everyone. My name is Ashanti. On Facebook, I go by Ashanti Dot, but my name is Ashanti.
All right. Definitely. Welcome, Sister Ashanti. Go ahead, Dr. Sal.
All right.
Now, I was gonna let people know. Put your YouTube channel and stuff out there when you get a chance. Put it out there.
Oh, okay. My YouTube channel is 916 Shan. That's 916 SHAN. I have a YouTube channel just uplifting positive statements. I do Hebrew readings a lot. I do book reviews. I claim my Israelite heritage. I do believe in the Messiah. However, I rock with anybody who's either Tanakh only or Messianic, or who believes in Yeshua the Messiah or not, as long as we want to spread love and believe in the Torah, that it's still standing, and try to follow the applicable laws to the best of our ability. I can rock with you.
All right. Well, welcome, Sister Ashanti. We're going around the table for our opening statement. We just heard from Sister Huldah. We're going to come to Sister Mayanah, and then we're going to come to you. The topic of discussion is broken pockets, broken homes, who leads, and we're kind of taking a look at what is supposed to be and what actually is. and what do people do in that space? So at this point, we're going to go to Sister Mayanah, and then we'll come to you. Sister Mayanah, the mic is yours.
Okay. Well, on the topic, I would say that when discussing polygyny, we are often confronted with the phrase that we're nation building. And in having that kind of declaration, there seems to be some complications because the only parts in place is the idea of accumulating or acquiring the feminine principle. And the family obviously makes up several components, and nation building obviously has several considerations. We have to consider autonomy. We have to consider agency. We have to consider whether or not we have currency, whether we have systems of government, judicial systems in place. There are all of these things that there's not a lot of discussion about the practicalities and the functionalities of being a nation, especially if we're discussing the rebuilding and reclaiming and the restoration of the Israelite nation. Now, as it pertains to polygyny as a solution to the broken family, to the broken spirit, to the various ways in which our mentalities have been broken, it seems a little surface to say that the solution to historical damages, the solution to social impoverishment, this kind of thing, that, okay, if we go out and procreate, then we somehow create the solutions to those other problems. The 31st Proverb, that gets paraded out a lot, and unfortunately it gets paraded out in ways that aren't applicable. Okay, so it is true that in the poem portion of the prophecy that is given by this woman to her son, this is an ode to general womanhood. But when we go to, and very often it is the standard of the men, of certain men, to begin at the 10th verse or the 11th verse where the poem begins, instead of from the beginning where the woman is speaking, a woman who is prophesying to her son. And it's important here to note that it is a king that is speaking. So this idea that the woman has taken up, quote, the slack, end quote, in some precarious situation is unlikely. She is the wife of a king who is not suffering from any type of debt or poverty or impoverished in any way. His mother has edified to him, has impressed upon him that he should not give his strength to someone who is weak, but to find someone who can match his strength. That is what the chayil means. The virtue is another word for strength. So it's someone who's matching him in strength. She's not picking up any slack. She's matching him so that he doesn't run into a deficit. Neither one of these individuals are running at a deficit. So her industrial nature is not kicking in because he has found himself lacked in any way. He's not lacked in any way at all. In fact, he's a king. So he has money, he has influence, he has access, and he's networking just fine. But she also has these talents. And so what we find here is that the feminine principle is not expected to be dormant. She's not expected to be docile and vacuous, that she is always an active influence in the family dynamic, domestically, culturally, and in many other important ways. We find that the feminine principle is always actively involved. So the ode to womanhood that you find in the 31st proverb has very little to do with the idea that she is the somehow more righteous, and she's not complaining while there's destitution around her, and the husband has made the unilateral decision, which honestly, when that conversation was explored a little bit further in the hypothetical scenario, the man had made a unilateral decision that he was going to abandon his income and just expect that the woman would supplement that decision, and that somehow she becomes the villain. She lacks all of these things. If she responds to being not, part of the process when the decision was made, because all these assumptions were made about her time and what she would do and how she would do it, and she's not allowed to have any type of reaction to that. This idea that womanhood doesn't have the permission to have any type of reaction to the things that are happening around her are simply not supported by Torah, and it's disingenuous to make it seem as if the natural response, which is when we speak about nature, we're talking about a biological imperative. We're talking about the things that happen intuitively. Intuitive response to hardship. If someone is going to put a hardship on you or a burden on you and has demonstrated this type of disinterest and dismissal towards you, you have to have some type of expectation of a reaction to that. And to say that this is somehow unrighteous, it's disturbingly dismissive. And it begins by diminishing the feminine principle, which we really do not want to do. Because as I've heard the panel already, even in these early parts of the conversation, established that we need to have this type of balance. That for the masculine and the feminine principle to work towards this shared goal of nation building, there has to be mutuality. There has to be reciprocity. There has to be an understanding and a communication between the two, because they cannot be working in their singular spaces and hope that by happenstance they are going to create something together. That's not going to happen. And so these are my opening remarks. With that, I yield the floor.
All right, Sister Mayanah got turned up early. She got turned up early. Thank you for that, Sister Mayanah. For those who just joined us, my name is Emunah, co-hosting today with Brother Sal Showtime. And this is the relationship challenge. We are speaking about, like it got turned up really early, about, broken pocket, broken home, and who leads. And so we're going to go to Sister Ashanti, and everybody would have given their opening statement, and then we're going to come back for round 2 of this conversation. And if you're listening, go ahead and press 1 if you would like to join the conversation in a little bit when Brother Sal opens up the phone line. Sister Ashanti, what are your opening thoughts on the economic situation and standpoint of the nation and how that affects the family structure? The mic is yours.
Oh, wow, the economic structure. In this economy, I believe both couples are in need to work at times. I know out here in California it's very expensive just to have a 2-apartment or a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment. Like out here, you're not going to find a 3-bedroom apartment for 2 or 3 children out here for less than $1,000 a month. You're just not going to find it. I myself am married, and I and my husband work. I find it in this society, it's difficult. The societal norms make it difficult for our husbands to stay employed out here a lot. It's not that they don't want to work, but they do. But they tend to nitpick on our brothers a lot. Out here, out in California, the woman is more seen to be given a stable job, because they think she's alone and doesn't have anybody else to take care of them in the house. But broken pockets, broken homes. In the Israelite community, I see or hear of a lot of brothers talk about polygyny and nation building. Well, in Exodus 21, it says, if you don't provide a wife with food, raiment, clothing, marital rights, she's free to go. Pretty much, if you're not able to take care of her, provide sustenance, then you're not able to take on more than you can handle. In Deuteronomy 17, the Father says, don't multiply wives for yourselves unless your heart will turn away. Well, but if you can, in this economy, take care of more than one wife, okay. And what I mean by more than one wife is biblically. Out here in California, you can only legally have one wife. The other wives, if something economically happens to the husband in death per se or in a medical situation, the wives who are not legally married you might want to have a good standing relationship with the other wives, to see who's going to get something in the end in case, the father dies and the kids need to be taken care of. But me and my husband, we both work. We have to work, both of us have to work to sustain the house that we live in. I mean, from month to month. If we both did not work, we would be in crunch time. You know what I mean? But I know that my man leads. My man leads. Now, that's not to say he leads over me with dictatorship. He values my opinion. However, at the end of the day, he makes choices that benefit the whole family. And I will say this, because I just got legally married, and I say this to women. Broken pockets, broken homes. A lot of times the broken homes, I think, does sometimes start with us as women. We need to make wiser choices in whom we choose as a husband, in whom we choose as a leader. Okay, many times we see these men presenting themselves to us, and we'll be like, oh, if we get this piece of paper or if we get this ring on our finger, he'll change. No, that man is presenting himself to you. You have to take it upon yourself and ask, do I want this person leading you? Am I willing to submit to this type of leadership in accordance to what he has been presenting to me, his actions, his demeanor, his behavior, his consistency or inconsistency in getting a job, keeping a job, so on and so forth. We as women have to make better choices. It starts with us choosing righteously who we're going to have as our leader, okay? So if the man was broke before, he's probably going to be broke then. If the man was always begging you for money, he's probably going to keep begging you for money. So the man does lead. So it's up to us to choose our leaders wisely. I'm looking forward to this dialogue, this conversation. Hopefully I can help provide resolution to the issue, because that's what I'm about. I'm about resolution and trying to be as transparent as possible to help in those resolutions. And I yield the mic.
All right, Sister Ashanti came through. She dropped it like bomb. And you really drove home some very important points. Many of which we continue to reiterate. Not enough voices, are chiming in on this conversation. So I thank you for your voice, as well as Sister Huldah, Sister Mayanah, as always. And those who are willing to raise their voice up and to say, as it relates to the sisters, we do have to make better choices. Just because you've seen the dude on the YouTube and he was like, get me that script, doesn't mean that he's necessarily equipped. You understand what I'm saying? And these are like, I love the way he read. Okay, that's not enough. And so I would ask this question around, and I'm going to come to Brother Ahwar. If she is working and he's, if he's studying, because you have a lot of this, he's working, he's fishing, he's fishers of men. He doesn't have a job. She buys him books. She funds his ministry so that he can stand on the street corner all day, and she goes to work. Who? And this is not a position that he cannot work. He is saying that his job is to go and fish people for the Most High. What do you do in that situation? Who is leading the household in that situation? Who is calling the shots? Because at this moment, she's no longer supplementing the income. She is the primary income. What are your thoughts, Brother Ahwar?
Right. Well, that, you go back to Paul and them. They always worked, and they spoke against men that didn't work when they were well in the gospel and well in the truth. They said don't be associated with men like that. So men that did that said, look, you go out there and work, and I'm gonna stay on the corner. That wasn't the focus. But I want to say this, right? And when I was talking about in Proverbs 31, in the 23rd verse, to tell you, it says, her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So this man also had a position in the nation where he didn't have time to do all that work that it required, and that's why certain righteous women stepped in and covered certain aspects of the household. But I want to shift the dynamic right quick. Now I'm gonna pass the mic. this is Ecclesiastes 3:1. It says, "To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." And the reason why I read this scripture is because I want to also discuss this conversation in other aspects of life. And what I mean by that is, if the nation is sovereign, meaning when we're in our nation and we're ruling and we have control over the resources, or a state of chaos, where chaos is going on, what positions that people play where you can't go to the supermarket no more. You got to get a crew with sticks and weapons to go get your food and your raiment and clothing and all that. Okay, you got to have men in the military. Or, and then you got this society where the men are more in a captivity type of status, where women have more liberty. Our women have more liberty in this society and more power than the man. I want to split up all the different dynamics and talk on each dynamic in every different season, just what we just deal with here. And I just want to see everybody's thoughts on that. I'm going to pass the mic.
Wait, Brother Ward, don't run away so quick. Come back. I like how you are Tusi real quick off the question, like me. You did like jump up off it real quick. But come back, Brother Ward. Come back for me 1 second. I hear you. You know, we rocking this season. You know, one of the relationship challenge. But come back.
All right.
I like to. You already know me. I like to bring it to right now. Like right now, somebody's sitting somewhere, listening to somebody say, "We in Babylon. We in captivity. I'm going to go teach and you work." Have you come across this type of individual? What would you say to this type of individual? And what can someone do honestly that is in this situation? Because, again, if you are in a relationship and you're having children and you're building and you're doing all of these things, but you have this thought process, this is really what we're addressing today, this thought process that, you know, this is captivity and this is why I cannot sustain, I cannot eat. Do you know these type of people? Do they exist, or are we just having a vain conversation?
No, yeah, and they have a Hebrew word for guys like that. They call it a bum. And if women don't call it what it is, that's what they are, man. You know, we, like the crew I came up with, we didn't tolerate that. You know, all the guys I came up with in the truth, in this understanding, they all took care of their families. They all worked. They all got it in and did what they had to do. Like, I didn't associate with bums. And there were a few bums and stragglers, but we got on them. You know, where I come from. Wasn't a lot of bums. There was men that tried that. Men to this day. But they were very scarce. Very scarce. So if women have men that are bums, don't want to do nothing, make up that excuse, want to sit back and watch Wendy Williams and bite their toenails, that's a bum. That's it.
All right, now see, that's what I know. We want to bring it home so that, you know, people who are experiencing this, and we're going to come to Sister Huldah, people who are experiencing this, to let us know that this conversation is relevant, because we do have a lot of this mentality floating around, and I've heard numerous women attest to it and wondering what are they supposed to do in such a situation. You know, so Sister Huldah, the mic is yours. Let us know your thought processes in the now as it relates to this situation that the nation faces. The mic is yours.
Dealing with a huge, huge reality. And I am of, I guess, the generation that there's a time to make excuses, and then there's a time to actually deal with how we can actually change the tide of the situation. So a couple of things that came out that kind of disturbed me a little bit about how people view this issue. And you have a lot of men, like you mentioned, he called them bums. I've heard them called hobo Hebrews. I mean, I've heard the lot of it. And I think that the contention comes from, you tell the woman to get into her place, and a lot of these men are very, very misogynist, if that's a word. I hate to use the English word, but we can all, I guess, obviously relate to it. A lot of these men are very, very manly, as they have, or a manly way that they've adopted. And a lot of their exercising of their authority has to do with the woman still carrying all of the burden. So I'm when there comes balance, if a man is allowed to be that masculine, then a woman should be equally allowed to be that feminine. And so if I am supposed to be a woman by that type of man's definition of a woman, which is to, know your place, sit down, shut up, I mean, I've heard it all, then I should also not have to carry your burden. And so one of the issues is that carrying the burden has to do with polygyny. So I need to know how not to be insecure while those men are obviously equally as insecure. I have to know how I have to be the person that is rebirthing the nation, building the nation, while this person is carrying out their role, where I don't think that is in any way biblical, because work is twofold. I have personal work that I do, obviously ministerially in ministry, but then I also have work I do as a wife, and then I also have probably physical work that I do in order to gain income. And so how is that same thing not required of the man in this situation? And I believe that while we are trying to rebuild as a nation, I believe that we're still repeating the same curses. In slavery, it was the same way. The woman carried the bulk of the responsibility for the family, and she literally often had to demote, I would say, herself and her role in order to protect her husband. She had to sleep with other men to protect her husband. She had to allow certain things around her and deal with them and be strong in order for the other person to still be allowed to feel like a man. And I feel like it's just switched, and we've labeled it with Torah and labeled it with Hebrew. And one of my big issues with a lot of people in this walk is it's being carried like a religion and not necessarily like a lifestyle, because a lot of these things don't practically work. A lot of the reason why people are, like we're dealing with this whole broke pockets, is because of an unrealistic idea of what work is. Like if I have a master's degree and my husband doesn't have a master's degree, just because you don't make as much money as me doesn't mean that I'm supposed to be the person that has to carry all the weight of the family and still carry out all my other roles. I believe that the contribution should be obviously the best you can. And I think it goes back to a previous comment of whether or not a man, who you should be marrying. Like, what is your standard? What are you requiring? Because one, if you get in a relationship and you're looking and comparing yourself to the Babylonian system and the Joneses and what they have, then you're going to be disappointed if you're getting a man who has been suppressed, repressed, and oppressed by the system and hasn't had a job or has been in prison or hasn't been raised or hasn't been taught how to provide. Then you're also inheriting these curses. So I believe if you take on that kind of person, then as a support is your responsibility then to help build in that kind of relationship. I'm not saying just look for people who are not in that situation, because obviously we're all broken. But if a person is taking on that particular burden, then there should be balance. If you're coming into a relationship and the person doesn't have anything, there has to be something worked out to figure out what it is that person is going to bring to the table. And then as a woman, if you don't want to carry that burden, what kind of things are you willing to relinquish about your creature comforts that make it possible to live in a family where a person doesn't make that much money? Do you go out and buy a cheap piece of land and live in a travel trailer or live in a tiny home so that your income fits what that person can provide? That is probably a question that we can deal with moving forward.
All right now. For those who have just joined us, thank you. That was the voice of Sister Huldah. We're going to come to Sister Mayanah and then Sister Ashanti, and then we're going to come to the board, check on Sal. You know, he be quiet over there in social media land, and I did just say he be, and that's not even correct English. But nonetheless, you know, as we're having this conversation, you know, sometimes you hear, as Brother Ahwar alluded to earlier, you know, woman, you evil. You know, he didn't say evil, I'm saying evil. Or you're not a team player. We have this emotional and mental, what's the word I'm looking for here? manipulation of the consciousness, and as Sister Hope just said, this is being superimposed. All of our deficits and issues and shortcomings are being smothered with some Torah icing, you know what I'm saying, and a little bit of zipsies, and it makes it like, see, this is righteous and you are not. All the while we're not taking into account a lot of times, except as a crutch, to say that, the Torah did say we're going to be cursed as it relates to economics. And so how do you balance that out? When you go into situations where people are browbeating you, and maybe you emotionally are broken, so you succumb to that browbeating, but then you begin to feel resentment, indifference, and some ultimately walk away from the Creator because of this type of behavior. So, again, it does correlate between the two, and I'm going to go to Sister Mayanah right now and see her thoughts on it, and then I'm going to come to Sister Ashanti and then Brother Asal. Mayanah, the mic is yours.
We've had some really good feedback so far, and I want to touch on some of them. I believe it was Sister Ashanti that brought out the fact that women have to be more cognizant of the choices that they are making. And part of that is women accepting that they do have choices. It is unfortunate that some of the women who are introduced to the culture are immediately disarmed and told that they do not have these choices and that they are to be chosen and they should accept whomever is willing to snatch them up. Instead of knowing that before marriage is the position, is the I'll say power position. I know it's going to offend very many people, but in this position, before the marriage, this is the where she can make these decisions about, as the other sisters are saying, what type of family she is going to join. If she is going to be with a man that has a particular income or a particular mindset, then she cannot enter into that relationship with the fantasy that it's going to change or that she can change them. There's really nothing that spectacular about any of us that we can change another person. Who they introduce themselves to you as, women, we need to listen to, we should listen to the men when they tell us who they are. And we should listen to the men when they tell us what they want, instead of saying, that's what he says, but I can change him. And that's where we wind up disappointing ourselves down the road, believing that he is going to become something different just because it's what you want. You have to, again, plan for what you want. Be very clear about what you want. He has to have more than Deuteronomy 28 and an interesting sounding Hebrew name to acquire you, because this is someone you are going to build a family with, someone who you are going to procreate with, and possibly have to, again, you guys discuss, have to supplement his burden, and you need to know how that balance is going to work out. It's interesting when we hear the conversation around the future, or when we have the kingdom, or when the tides change and we are the ones who are in control of things again, this acceptance, this kind of partial cognizance of the fact that we are in this state where we haven't fulfilled our potential. And in many ways, there are systemic issues in place that prevent us in many ways from accomplishing the things that we have the ability to do, but we don't have the opportunity to do. It is not a matter of our ability, but rather the absence of opportunities in many cases. There also, so with that being the case, so if you can say, I'm not partial to this idea of captivity, because captivity is an actual thing. This kind of intellectual captivity is different, but anyway, let's just use the word that is popular and say we are in captivity. If this is the understanding, then it's puzzling for me to hear, on the one hand, there's this admission of captivity, and then on the other hand, this ambition to act as if we're not in captivity. When I was younger, I grew up in Brooklyn, so there was this idea of, everybody having champagne dreams and quarter water money. If you have enough money for quarter waters, acting as if you can pop bottles, don't do that. Don't do that. But there's a lot of that. Which goes back to our title. A lot of people with broke pockets and pauper position wanting to have prince privileges, and we need to not do that. Just as women should not have a bad idea or unrealistic expectations, our men have to have more of a relationship with reality, where they say that these are the type of things they want to pursue. If you know what your limitations are, work within your limitations and grow from there. That's what we need to do. One of the things, and we have to, I hear very often that our men are unemployed at a different rate than the women. This is a fact. I live in New York, and in the employment areas and arenas that I have operated in, there are a lot of employed black men. But I worked in universities and city agencies, and so they are also very well educated black men. And you can't disconnect the relationship between education and employment. The fact is that black women are educated at a higher rate than black men. So if you see that black women are employed at a higher rate than black men, it is not because she goes into the contrary to what you may see on Facebook. It is not because the black woman has gone into the business of putting, she can't walk into an employer's office with nothing but her vagina and get the position. There are other things on her resume. If the only thing that a brother has on his resume is that he completed the 8th grade and the sister has gotten her master's degree, obviously she's going to get employed and he is not going to get employed in certain spaces. So to complain that the black woman has received more employment opportunities, we cannot act as if she has gotten it because of her breast and her body parts. She's not going there with nothing but that. And that has to be accepted and acknowledged. If you decided that street cred was better than good, real credit, then there are consequences to that. Very often, we're talking now about burden. Very often, you hear the masculine principle highly educated on what the feminine role is supposed to be. Everybody knows how to go to Genesis 3 and wag their finger at the woman and say that your desire is to be your husband, and he will rule over you, and become completely kind of stuck there. Just like some men begin at the poem portion of Proverbs, the same type of men will end the conversation after the woman has received her judgment. The following passages go on to say, earth is no longer going to yield her fruit to you, that you are going to have to labor. It's going to be by the sweat of your brow and by the thorns and thistles before the earth will yield any fruit to you. So the complaint that it's hard, the complaint that you're struggling, all these ideas, yes, there's racial unrest. Yes, there's social injustice. Yes, we are the product of the broken remnants of slavery. But my darling, from Genesis, it was going to be hard for you. From Genesis, you were told, because of your disobedience, because of your rebellion, because you turned your back on me, thorns and thistles, it's not supposed to be easy for you. He never said, you know what, have Eve do it. He said it's going to be hard for you. She has to change and desire you and not be distracted by other people and other influences and desire you alone, and you have to work. That was the judgment. That was not the antebellum judgment. That was the Genesis judgment. If it is the case, and we know, because Emunah and I have done quite a bit of campaigning in this area, it is difficult for melanated women to stay at home. We simply do not have that type of luxury, and those type of luxuries were afforded to different to European women because of the fact that we were taking on certain burdens. So we acknowledge that. Your women will work because it's necessary. But the idea that you have to depend on that she is your get out of iniquity, get out of poverty free card, it's just not accurate. I think that we have to have a better relationship with reality, a better relationship with accountability than that. And with that, I'll yield the mic.
Pull up, selector. We don't come again. We are turned up right about now. Brother Sal. Pull up. They popping bottles right about now. Let me find out for those who just joined. This is the relationship challenge. Emotions is coming out. Let me find out. Broken pockets, broken homes. Who leads? Right now, we just heard from Sister Mayanah. We're going to go to Sister Ashanti, and then we're going to touch the phone line. Again, social media is just a beautiful place to see some crazy stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And people have, and I wrote something concerning that the other day. People have had emotional breakdowns when you mention what Mayanah is alluding to, or not even alluding. She spoke directly to this delusional mindset. This mindset of dealing in fantasy world, like some Disney film or something. And when you speak of reality, when you speak of humility, when you speak of the other side of the judgment, woman, shut your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You need to be quiet. You a little hater. And here's another one. You're working for the system. If you bring up the reality of what's going on, you're obviously a white supremacist. You're obviously a feminist. You're obviously all of these wild, crazy things because you're dealing in a little bit of reality. So, again, as we grow our emotional temperament, our emotional intelligence, as we continue to have these conversations, hopefully it can air out the funk in the room so we could get to the crux of the matter. And as Sister said on her last go-around, that we could actually deal with some reasonable solutions. But I've found in times past that if we can't even have the conversation, a solution is, not even something that many people are, because there's nothing wrong. Why am I going to counseling? Ain't nothing wrong with me. So this is kind of our group counseling. I hope you guys are enjoying it and learning something. And pressing number one, because after Sister Ashanti, we're going to go ahead and go to Brother Sal on the phone line. Sister Ashanti, the mic is yours.
All right. So I believe you were talking about the browbeating of women, the browbeating of women by men, especially coming into the Israelite faith. Those are what I like to call guilt trips. And I will say this. My suggestion as a resolution for that, women of the way, learn them scriptures for yourself. Learn those scriptures for yourself. When you do learn those scriptures for yourself, you'll know that all the women who were in polygynous relationships did not get along, i.e. Rachel and Leah, right? You got in Genesis 29 or Genesis 30, somewhere around there, where they were arguing over who was going to sleep with Jacob one night. Come on. You got David, how it was all in a ruckus. You know what I'm saying? Learn those scriptures for yourself. Because they don't want to tell you their stories. They act like, oh, y'all just got to get along and y'all going to be sister wives. That's not reality in them scriptures once you learn them for yourself. That's the resolution, I would say. Number one, right? Because it's easy to place blame on somebody else. A lot of the men, they guilt trip you because it's easy to place the blame on someone else. And we tend to place the blame on those who are closest to us. Who's close to him? You. You know what I'm saying? You. Because he doesn't want to admit sometimes. Also, the women submitting thing. Well, they don't want to tell you in Ephesians chapter 5. They want to start at verse 22. But if you start at verse, 17, 18, you'll see that men and women were singing songs of praise to each other. And then in verse 21, it says we're going to submit ourselves to one another. It says submit yourself to one another. So if you know these scriptures, verses, and passages for yourself, you will not be hit with the guilt trips. You know what I'm saying? That's my resolution for that. I'm not really wrong with it in saying, but I will say, you know what Mayanah said, sometimes those women don't have the luxury of staying home. I personally don't have the luxury of staying home. I don't. Out here in California, it's popping over here with the economic status. You know what I mean? Two incomes over here, whatever. That's how it goes down for me. But know that the Father is a Father of decency and order. Know that dysfunction is dysfunction and it's not correct. Anytime you have dysfunction, that means something's out of order. When something's out of order, the Father is not in it. Once the Father is not in something, it crumbles. It definitely crumbles. Okay? So learn them scriptures for yourself. Now, I will say this. I learned Hebrew for myself. Taught myself, read a book. And I went to a few brothers online who I saw had a respect and a love and a cordiality for women of the way. You know what I mean? Learn the Hebrew for yourself. And then Paul is definitely taken out of context when it comes to these women for the browbeating. You know what I mean? I ran into a guy from IUIC at the mall out here, you know, and he was questioning me about why I had pants on. Now, I could break down Deuteronomy 22:5 all day. They don't say nothing about no pants. But he going to question me like my man didn't see what I had on when I came out the house. So my thing is, if you know that woman doesn't belong to you, make sure that you understand, men, that you know what, she has a man already, she has a husband already, she has a covering already to check her if she needs to be checked. I think that's disrespectful for one man to check another man's woman. I think that's disrespectful. Paul is misquoted because ancient history is not studied. Ancient history is not studied. You have to understand that those were real cities. They had a real culture clash going on. They had a lot of paganism going on. They had a lot of Gnosticism going on. And he used, and Paul used a lot of allegorical situations from what was going on in their cities to convey a message to them when they sent a letter to him. So he sent a letter back. So learn ancient history for yourself. If you go to the library, go to the ancient history section. Go look at anything with Rome, Greece, Asia Minor, Mesopotamia, Middle East, things of that nature. You know, learn historical aspects of Scripture. Go into those secular historical informational resources to learn. Learn the Scriptures for yourself, women, and understand you are the first line of teacher. Deuteronomy 6 says, teach them to your children when they wake up and when they go to sleep. So you are the first teacher. And a lot of people want to skip over Proverbs 31, the first verse where it says Lemuel, another name for Solomon, he was taught by his mother. Okay? So therefore, in order for you to be a teacher or in order for you to be a person who makes known something, you have to learn them for yourself. Learn them scriptures for yourself, ladies. And I yield the mic.
Oh, learn these scriptures for yourself. Yes. That is good counsel, because that is a major part of the problem. Not knowing the text and being able to be told, manipulated with the text. For those who just joined us, broken pockets, broken homes. Who leads? Brother Sal, are you there? Let us know if you're there.
Oh, yeah,
anybody has
again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely here. We definitely have a lot of people standing by, checking out the show, and I see a few people press number 1. We're going to get to y'all. We're going to definitely get to y'all, but if you're listening on social media, if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, if you want to chime in, you know that number, 319-527-6239. This is Volume 23, y'all, the Relationship Challenge, Volume 23, Broke Pockets, Broken Homes. Who leads? We want to hear from the people out there, so let's go to the first person. Let's go to 443-815, you're live on air.
Yeah, this is Brother Mercy. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Well, Shalom.
Brother Mercy. Shalom.
Shalom, Mercy.
You know, I would like to say, I think a lot of brothers have a comic book understanding of the scriptures. And what I mean by that is the characters in the scriptures are 2,000 years or more dead. And what I mean by that is that you need a real today example of how you're supposed to conduct yourself. You know, I like Moses, I like Elijah, I like Elisha, I like Noah, I like Abraham, I like Isaac, I like Jacob, I like Adam, I like Enoch, but I like Nat Turner too. I need a real today example. I like a little bit about Martin Luther King. Let me tell you why I like these brothers. Because they're dealing with real issues. Like, for example, these brothers got to understand, you can stay in the book all you want to, but you're going to be discriminated against. You can complain as much as you want. It's the reality. It's what your family dealing with. It's what the black woman is dealing with. It's what your children are dealing with. All of us dealing with the same thing, and running your mouth ain't going to do nothing about it. So, one of the answers what you guys discussed is education. Education is one of the keys to success. Hard work, of course, is too. But education, you got to be able to have a good education. We got to stay in school. The African American dropout rate is atrocious, and we need to stay in school. Get educated so that we can be qualified for these jobs that we're going for. And I would like to say, if you don't want to work in the system, then you have to start your own system. And these brothers don't understand how to start their own system. See, if you don't want to be a part of the system, you got to start your own system, and that takes currency. That takes Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. That takes takes time, and it takes unity. But I think that's the key. We need a realistic, issue. You do have to go out there and work. Paul's a tent maker, so you do have to get your hands dirty, so to speak. And you have to start somewhere. And Paul was a tent maker, but he taught scripture was a tent maker. But I just want to say that, I'm almost done. But you got to work hard, and you got to get out there and sweat. So that's all I got to say.
All right, thank you for that, Brother Mercy. Brother Mercy said everybody has to work. Everybody must work. Get out there and eat by the sweat of your brow. Thank you for that, Brother Mercy. Brother Sal, are you back? Do we have another caller?
Yeah, we definitely got some more callers. And Sister Mayanah, I said her call dropped. Just call back when you get a chance. And press number 1 will bring you back in. But let's go to the next caller. Let's go to 530-434. You're live in the air.
Yo, what's up, Brother Sal? This is Brother B.A. out of Sacramento, California. Much love to the people on the panel. Much love. What's up, Shine?
What's happening, Brother B.A., my brother?
What's going on? What's going on, B.A.?
What's up with it, Brother Sal? Yeah, man, I ain't got much to say. I'll just say this. I didn't get a chance to hear everything. I've been in and out. But one thing about it, when we live in this society, we got to understand that the male and the female, they were created to be Messiah. So they need each other because, the male, he protects and guards. We also know that the woman, she's to help me, but it also means to deliver. So the only way that you can prevent a broken home if the two are being allowed to play their position. I tend to notice that when you have when one individual takes from the other individual and not allowing them to play their position, then that's when the disorder and the dysfunction happens. So yeah, economics play a big part. Yes, it does. But what really makes an unhappy home is when you have the male or the woman not allowed to play their position because the other counterpart, whether it be the male or the woman, somebody is trying to dominate over the other. And then you have some women who do that, and you have a lot of brothers who do that. So I think, like I said, to prevent a broken home, the male and woman, they have to be able to play both of their positions, let the woman deliver, and let the male protect and keep, and everything should be cool as long as you do it in the name of the Messiah. And that's all I have to say. Much love to the panel and shalom. I'm going to holler at you, sis. Much love.
All right, dear. I'll get at you.
All right, so we're still waiting for Sister Mayanah to call back in. When she does, we'll bring her back in. But Emunah, you can reply and go ahead.
All right. The caller brought up some very important points about playing position, being allowed to play the position, and not. And how do we get back into position, being that, socially, economically, historically in this country and throughout diaspora, it's kind of been all mixed up. You know what I'm saying? People are in places that they don't belong. The forward is in the center position, and the whole basketball court is just messed up. You understand? There's no point guard. It's all crazy. So at this point, we're going to come to Brother Ahwar, and we're going to go back around and hear what everybody has to say. Again, if you're in the audience and you would like to let your voice be heard, feel free to press 1, and let's have, a respectful, clean, decent conversation. Hopefully we can walk away with something to ponder, something to consider. Brother Ahwar, the mic is yours.
Yeah. Just today, right, I was watching this movie they had on TV called The Thin Line Between Love and Hate with Martin Lawrence. And there was a scene in the movie that I thought was dope. Okay, and the scene was, it was a part where, he was with the lady, and the sister, she had her stuff together. She was wealthy, and he was working at the club. And she picked him up in the limo, and she was taking him shopping and buying him stuff. And he told her, he said, well, I'm working at the club, but I'm going to own it. And she said, forget about that club. She said, I'll buy you a club so you can spend more time with me. I'll buy you your own club. Now, my question is, was that very noble of her? Would you consider that a virtuous woman? That's my question.
Good question, Ahwar.
I missed that question, Brother Ahwar. I was doing mommy duty. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Oh, okay. Yeah, my question is the way she dealt, because he was working in this club, and he didn't own it, but he was planning on owning it. And she wanted to spend a lot of time with him, and she was wealthy. So she said, look, you quit that, what you're doing. I'm going to buy your club so you can spend more time with me. And my question is, can she be looked upon as a virtuous woman? That's my question.
Oh, is that what you watch the thin line between love and hate, Brother Ahwar?
Yeah, exactly.
I got you. I'm going to go to Sister Huldah, hear her thoughts on that while I settle down these babies around here. Sister Huldah, the mic is yours.
So, very interesting question. It's that you brought up the idea of, is that woman considered a virtuous woman? There's a fine line between being a woman who is about her business and takes care of stuff and can care for her man, and an enabler, and his mother. So a lot of men, obviously, not saying you in particular, because I know you're just creating a launching pad for discussion, but a lot of men want a woman to be his mom and his mate and nothing more. And there's so much more to a Hebraic relationship than a mother to a grown man and a mate. And so there's a video that I did on YouTube, and I talked about the idea of submission and how it is to help someone achieve their goals. My submission is not to coddle you or to comfort you or to stagnate you, but my submission is to push you in the direction that Yah has set forth for your life. And so many men are choosing their own direction and then forcing women to submit to that direction when it has nothing to do with the Father. And I think that is the main problem, because a woman who understands the mission of a man, and when she sees the importance of what he's doing and how it benefits the whole family and not just his loins or fattening his pockets, and it actually helps to really deal with the idea of nation building and to set forth virtuous children and seed to the future generation, a woman is going to have no problem getting on board with that. It's when a man has selfish desires that in no way reflect what the Father has for the entire nation of Israel that make it very difficult for a woman to submit to. So, to answer your question in short, should a woman, if she has the money, just sit back and sugar mama a man? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But if she has the,
Can I say this right quick?
Yes.
Can I say this right quick? Why that had to be sugar mama? Why she couldn't just trust him? Could a woman trust a man that, could she put him in position for him to better himself? Isn't that a form of trust? I don't think that falls in the line of being a sugar mama.
Okay. I can agree with you that it wouldn't necessarily be a sugar mama if she's putting him in a position to trust him. But I'm big on context. So if you want me to deviate from the context of your question in the movie, then okay, that's fine. But obviously this person had completely different intentions for his money and for where he was planning to spend it. So if you're talking about a woman who is investing in her man in order to push him forward, I believe that is the biblical the biblical definition of what submission is supposed to do.
Okay.
Each person equally investing where they can out of not only their financial, but their support, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, in order to advance both people toward whatever their God-given goals are. So I believe it's become very one-sided, where the man is the one who is being advanced toward his goals, and the only goal that the woman has is to help him do whatever he's supposed to do. But has anybody ever stopped to think that Yah actually has a plan for the woman as well? Because I think in that same video, I pointed out how Sarah had a position. He said, I'm going to make you Abraham, father of nations. But in the same context, he said, and her, the mother of nations, not just the mother of this one child, but the mother of nations. So she also had a goal that she had to be pushed toward. And I heard a couple people bring up Shaul or Paul, and he also brings that. He says, oh, you daughters of Sarah, which means that you carry the same responsibility that she does for the nation, which is to be pushed in order to produce a fruit that is pleasing to the Father. And a person can't do that when they're only cultivating another person and they're never being cultivated.
All right now. All right. Issue versus. Thank you for that, Sister Huldah. We got Sister Mayanah back on the line. Let's hear from her. The question, if I'm not mistaken, Brother Ahwar, if the woman she's a money bag, right? And she wants to get with a man who's not a money bag, but she wants to invest in him. Is she virtuous for doing so? Is that a correct analysis of the question?
Yes.
Minus the money bag statement. Okay, so there you go, Sister Mayanah. That's the question that, as it relates, can she help him get a leg up? Can she invest in him because she has the money, she has the resources? And another question, if I can, how does that affect the mentality? I was watching something. I saw something the other day where after that happened, the man became resentful because the woman now takes on the position that, I helped you to get to where you are. I made you, was what the woman said in the conversation. And so now that brings a different dynamic of a man not being able to stand on his own 2 feet, and the woman feeling like she had a hand in raising him up and making him. So I just want to throw that little bit in the pot, a little bit of pepper. But Sister Mayanah, the mic is yours.
I think that question actually alludes to an interesting dynamic, even without, and I think that the caveat that you included definitely spices it up, but even in its plain dish, it's kind of meaty. When you have a woman that has decided that she is going to invest in this man. We've already discussed balance and we discussed reciprocity. If what she is giving is money, then there is an expectation that she is looking for something in return. This is not, people confuse love with charity. Charity is when you give to a deficit. I think that the culprit in this is definitely Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind nonsense. Because the word love is there, you are conflating the idea of love with charity. If you give to a deficit, that is charity. You don't expect reciprocity, that is not love. Love is reciprocal. Love always expects. If you give to someone, I know it's very difficult. We discussed it in class. The entire class had a problem with that. But it's a fact. Love is reciprocal. There's an expectation in love. If you give something to someone and they never return anything to you, if you're in a relationship and you're the only one giving, let's say, because the men have a problem with hearing this very often, so assume this, that you're always giving everything to a man, to the woman, and she is very cold towards you. No matter what you do for her, no matter how accommodating you try to be, she's always very cold. You will not feel love just in that relationship because the expectation is you have done this and you want to see it back. That's how you feel appreciated. It's how you feel understood. It is how love works. Love is reciprocal. If a woman has chosen to invest in her man, she's going to expect something. in return. If that isn't the success of the man who's going to then reinvest into the relationship, she's also looking for love. Because I was offline, I was able to get some background from Emunah via inbox. So I believe that some of this has something to do with the movie Thin Line, which I saw and enjoyed. In that particular movie, we see that the woman did not choose to invest in Martin Lawrence's character simply because she had a lot of money and could do so. She had the expectation that he loved her, that she was investing in someone that loved her. And when she found out that the man actually loved someone else, she felt betrayed. And that's problematic. It complicated the situation. It's not just, I am here, I have money, I have the means to give you the leg up. I'm not investing in you, I'm investing in us. And if you are not participating in the us dynamic, going to cause a problem. So the problem is not really who has the finances in this particular conversation. It has a lot more to do with what the sister was saying before about this idea of balance. The relationship is reciprocal. There is a yielding to one another in spaces. We see in the Apocrypha, it is predictable. There's a predictable consequence when the woman is the one who's doing all of the financing, who's the one who is in that position where the man has become the child or the dependent in the relationship. It says that she will become impudent. She's resentful. This is what she becomes. And it's in our records. It's not like, gee, I wonder how that happened. The ancestors have already provided for you what is going to be the consequence of this type of arrangement, where there's this absence of balance. I think Sister gave a brilliant example when she was discussing with us about Abraham and Sarai. Right, with Emma Sarai. We see here that when Abraham was given this promotion, or the Most High had given his judgment for Abraham that he would become the father of nations, Sarai was not left behind. He was not elevated, and she was left diminished. He did not elevate Abraham and have him with some diminutive partner. She too was elevated. They elevated together. The Most High did not create an inequity between them. It was very important that Abraham had someone who he would not have to give all his strength to, but it was equally strong. She's going to become the mother of nations. Right? This balance was maintained. The Creator maintains balance. This idea of having inequity in the home is something that we are imposing. It's an additional burden that we are imposing on ourselves for egotistical and fanciful reasons. It's very, and it's because we are a broken people. We are in many ways. Children who have been given toys that are too big for us. Have a lot of information that are millennia old that we don't truly understand, but we know we have access to it, and we know we're entitled to it, and we're trying desperately to put all the square pegs in the square spots, and we're missing very often because it's more than we are really able to understand. And we have to be honest about our place in the world. We have to be honest about the fact that we have been distanced from this information for a very long time, and we are trying to avoid the learning curve. Being the heir of something doesn't make you the master of that thing. We have to understand that we are children, and in many ways we are children trying to play dress up in our mother and father's clothes, and we're not ready. And we really have to accept that and take our spaces. As women, we have to relearn many things, and it's a process. And we have to give ourselves permission, and we have to give ourselves patience. Men, yes, in many ways, you have been distanced from great many things that you are entitled to. Also have to accept that you're not quite equipped yet to step into those roles. You don't have the tools to do it yet. And so we must work to earn those spots. Even though the Most High is holding them open for us, we still have to work on our credentials to claim them. And I think that's something that we don't like to look at oftentimes. So that's my answer to that. I yield the floor.
All right. Broken pockets, broken home. Thank you for those who just joined us. Who leads? A lot of stuff has come forward today. A lot of information as it relates to a lot of good information, reflection, input as it relates to this conversation and some of the outliers that are causing the issues that we're seeing, whether it be internal or exterior. Brother Sal, do we have anybody pressing 1 at this time? Or you have any social media questions? Feel free to let us know.
Yes, we do. We have some more people standing by. Once again, that number is 319-527-6239. By the way, the chat room is officially open, people. The chat room is officially open. If you need to gain access to the chat room, you have to go directly to the Blog Talk Radio site, www.blogtalkradio.com/debate talk for you. Click on the show, The Relationship Challenge, Volume 23. And when you scroll down at the bottom, you'll see a little box there where you can type in your questions, or you can email me at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com, and I'll read your questions out, or simply call in and press number 1 and we'll add you in the conversation. Let's go to the next person up. Let's go to 504-485. You're live on the air.
Yeah, how you doing, Sal?
We're doing pretty good.
Hello? Yeah. How everybody doing on the panel? It's been a beautiful discussion so far. I can only hope to pray that I find a beautiful daughter of Sarah, such as yourselves. But I have just a statement, and I would like to hear everyone's opinion on it. Through my search in the scripture, it has been understood to me that what we've lost and what we have to get back to are the things that, through corruption of scripture by the Greeks and Romans, we've lost, which is that in the beginning, when the Most High created the heavens and the earth, there were 2 things that were with him at the beginning, which is wisdom and the word. So what we got to realize is wisdom in Hebrew is a feminine, and knowledge is a male as well as understanding. So what we have to realize is that the Most High is not a man, is not a woman. He is all things, because through wisdom and knowledge, it creates understanding, which is, through my understanding, Yeshua. So I feel that if we were to concentrate the Most High in that aspect, it would help us better in our relationships, because we are all equal. We just have different roles to play. So I'd just like to hear your everyone's opinion on that, if I may. Thank you.
All right. Thank the caller for calling in and making the statement / question for feedback. Who would like to, I'm going to see who would like to answer that, who we didn't hear from for a while. Sister Ashanti, Sister Huldah, would you like to touch on that, or Brother Ahwar?
I'd like to touch on it for a hot second.
All right, go ahead, Sister. The mic is yours.
Yes, Yahweh Elohim, our Heavenly Father, the Creator, is a spirit. And those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. To understand spirit, understand that spirit has many attributes, many elements to it. I'd like to not take all day, but 1 Corinthians chapter 12. This is just for people who believe in Paul's letters, but he had some wise words to say. He talked about spiritual gifts. Everyone has spiritual gifts. And then he goes on to talk about different kinds of services, but the same master, right? Let me read something. It says, verse 5 says, there are different kinds of services, but the same master. And there are different kinds of workings, but it is the same Elohim who is working all in all. And to each one is given the manifestation of the Spirit for profiting. For one is given a word of wisdom through the Spirit, and to another a word of knowledge according to the same Spirit. He goes on. Verse 12. Just read verse 12. I advise everybody to go back and start from verse 1. So verse 12. It says, for as the body is one and has many members, like eyes, nose, ears, mouth, legs, arms, toes, feet, head, right? But all the members of that one body, Echad, right? Being many are one body, so also is the Messiah. So, if you understand spirit, you understand there are many elements or attributes to a spirit. There are different elements to a spirit. So, in the beginning, the Father created them in His image. He created them, male and female. He created Him, right? So those are aspects or principles of the spirit. Once we acknowledge that, yes, we understand our roles to play. So the reason why I read that verse is because just like our body has many members to it, the spirit has many elements or members or attributes to it. And learn that each role is significant and important, and they all have to work together to come collectively as one to accomplish a goal. And I yield.
All right, thank you for that, Sister Ashanti. Well, everybody would like to touch on one more person would like to touch on it, and then we could go ahead and go back to the phone line.
I would.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's Brother Ahwar. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I like the area that he started from, which is that there is not this male and female issue with the Most High, but it's masculine and feminine, and a balance, which is obviously seen in Messiah, is the picture. But one of the things that I always like to reiterate is that before something can be seen spiritually, we have to see it physically. And I think that's what the Creator starts with when He creates man and woman, so that they are a representation of that balance and of that function. And so while we want to get back to that state spiritually, if it's physically broken, then we're only going to get spiritual brokenness as the result. And so obviously that is why we need the Word, and we need to properly understand how Torah applies both masculine and feminine, and how there is a balance in both sexes of those energies. Sister before me brought out that with Corinthians, showing that, yes, we all have a function, and that function has to be, not to be redundant, but functional. So the issue of the flaw of the flaw that is found in humanity because of the fall is a flaw of dysfunction. And it's based upon not being able to put our roles into their proper place. And one of the things I tell people, just like because we're fallen doesn't mean that we don't keep Torah, the same way is that we don't allow, is the same way that we're fallen and we still have to keep Torah, is the same way that even though we know that we are flawed as male and female, we still have to carry out our roles in order to reflect what the Most High has set up from the beginning. And so that never changes with even the Genesis 3, chapter 3 curse, as most people call it. Like we stated earlier, you have to work by the sweat of your brow. And He said, this is for you. It's good for you. It shows something in the character of a man when he goes out and does whatever he has to do to provide for his family. And then the same thing for the woman. You're going to want for this position, you're going to want for this male, but it shows your meek, which is your power under control, when you support what he's doing and function in your proper role, which means that everyone is still responsible for themselves. So it is beautiful in order to point it out spiritually, but if we can't ever see it physically, then it's unattainable, and it makes this walk a little more difficult to actually live out. That's all.
Very interesting points. Brother, that lends to what Sister Mayanah was saying earlier about, and Brother Mercy put so beautifully, a comic book mentality where we're not able to manifest that which we are professing. Very, very interesting stuff. I think Brother Ahwar wanted to say something on this before we go back to the phone line.
You go back to the phone line.
All right, let me check on. We're going to check on Brother Sal. Brother Sal, what's going on?
All right, I'm back. I just want to thank the people out there that's actually sharing it, sharing the show on their personal pages on Facebook. As a lot of people sharing the show, we appreciate you creating awareness of Debate Talk for You, the Relationship Challenge, Vol.23. We do have somebody else pressing number 1. Let's go to 443-815. Yeah, this is Brother Mercy. I'm back again. I wanted to talk about, when you talk about roles that intrigue me, I like to go to Genesis chapter 2, where he placed the man in the garden. And this is what men got to understand. The place where Adam was made is not the place he was living. He was made from the dirt, but then he was taken and placed in paradise. And so men need to understand that the place you were placed in sometimes might not be the place that where you're from. So why am I saying all that? I'm saying all that to say is this new place that you're placed at, you're going to have to maintain it. If you can't maintain it, you're going to get put out. Or that's what happened to them. They were put out. So this is the thing. You have to be able to maintain it. What I mean by that is, you know, you're in a garden. There are things growing in the garden. You have to take care of it. And if you read Genesis, the first few chapters of Genesis, you don't read anywhere where Adam lifted a hand to do any work. You don't see him picking up any tools, working on the ground. Only thing you see him doing is running his mouth, naming the animals. And that's what our Hebrew brothers are doing, running their mouth on the streets. And that's what I see Adam doing here. And then the next thing happens to Adam, the Most High puts him to sleep. Then he gives him a helpmate. And that's interesting. He puts him to sleep and gives him some help. So sometimes when people need help, it's because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So you get help to help you do what you're supposed to do. But when that help came, what happened? The enemy came and all hell broke loose. So I think what's going on in Genesis is what's going on today. You got the men who are asleep, and you got their help trying to help them, but then we got that slick-talking serpent out there. So I think what we got to do, man, is we got to wake up, number one. We got to get our knives out and cut that serpent's head off, and so we can take care of and help our helpmates, and so they can help us do what we're supposed to do. I'm not saying they do our job, but to help us do what we're supposed to do. That's it.
All right, that was the voice of Brother Mercy. Brother Mercy said some people still sleeping. That's that's kind of accurate description of what's going on. We sleepwalking, sleep talking. Brother Sal, wow, we almost 9. Okay, we almost to the bottom of the second hour. Let me check on Brother Sal, make sure those who are on the phone lines get their voices heard before we come back to the panel. Brother Sal, do we have any more hands in the air?
Yes, let's go to 504-485. You're live on air. (504). Can you hear me? 504-485.
Yeah, what's up, Sal? I actually thought I was off the queue, but it doesn't matter. I have a lot of questions. The show is definitely interesting. My thing that I ask from the ladies is, if a brother is in a relationship with a sister that's not really in the culture, do you think there's, especially if she's like a woman that's not even religious, do you think that there's any type of way that can work out, or would you have any suggestions that will make it more better in that relationship? Because I actually do know people in the situation.
Who would like that question? I know we have a lot of competent, capable people on the line. Just to reiterate, the question is, if the brother is in a relationship with someone who's not quote-unquote conscious, what should he do?
Right. Basically, a lot of times it's hard to be in union with someone like that. And I was just wondering if y'all had any tips on how to maybe make that situation a little better, or any tips on how to make that woman see the way from a woman's perspective.
We haven't heard from Sister Mayanah in a while. We'll go to Sister Mayanah and then go to Ahwar. We skipped this time last time. Sister Mayanah, we're going to go to you. And then we're going to touch on Brother Ahwar. He's waiting in the queue. I'm going to relinquish the mic.
I think that it would depend on, I think that my answer would depend on what phase of the relationship we're talking about. If this is the beginning and the person is considering this person as a potential mate and it's the beginning stages, then I would say any further until that person is fruitful. It's going to be able to receive it. If you are married to the person, you already have commitments and vows and oaths in place, then your obligation has a different weight to it to get her on the same page as you are. Because, the wisdom of the ancestors plainly states that two cannot walk lest they be agreed. That's something that we reiterate almost ad nauseum, but we don't really pay attention to it. It's not a philosophy. It's actually quite practical. If two people literally cannot get anywhere if they won't arrive at the same destination if they have not agreed on that destination. They will not arrive together. So, with that being the case, and we understand that the purpose of the male and the masculine and the feminine principle coming together in a union is to be and to achieve the sense of the heart. The woman cannot do her function of the azar, which means to save or to, it has to be diminished to the word help, Kalendo, to become a worthy, suitable, appropriate. That's the British term, meet, but it means to be opposite, to in much the same way as perhaps a mirror reflects back to you on the other side of you so you can see yourself. The woman is supposed to help you see yourself and remind and encourage you to achieve your purpose. Right? Now, if you don't have a woman like that, let me give you an example. I'm going to simplify this quite a little bit by using the Genesis tool, the name of my ministry. When Adam, woke up, was presented with his woman, his declaration is significant. He says, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." Basically, what he did was he recognized himself. When he saw her, his immediate declaration was, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." This was not told to him. He recognized himself in her. That's the relationship that you should have, or the couple should have. That when the man sees this woman, he sees himself in her. He's able to say, "This is bone." We are on such the same level. We have such the shared vision. We are so compatible in this way. She is 100% on my side. She's bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. I might as well be talking, in this way. But again, because we're going to go on, and this conversation continues, we're going to talk about the fact that the woman has to be able to contribute to the dialogue. If she doesn't have anything to contribute to you, what good is she? What is she there for? Because she's pretty? Because she pleases you well? That's what Samson said. She pleases me well. You should have happened to Samson, right? Oh, she pleases me well, and she did not have his best interest at all. She betrayed him immediately for shekels that were promised to her by her kinsmen. She was not bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh. She was not in a chad with him. They did not have the same understanding. They were not walking together. They were not in agreement. But she pleased him well. And I think this is what we have to consider. The man in this case, if he is, or the woman in the other case, are concerning themselves with Torah, with the restoration and the reclaiming of our culture and the rebuilding of our nation. And this is what our partners should also be reflecting, and not whether or not they please us in some other spaces. With that, I yield the floor.
Oh, that was from a few episodes ago. She pleases me well. That's the infamous Samson when they say, "Are there not any daughters among your people?" And he said, nah. She pleases me well. Very interesting. We thank you for that, Sister Mayanah. We're still on the topic. The caller brought to our attention. So I'm going to go to Brother Ahwar right now to see what he can say concerning a woman who may not be on the same accord as the man as it relates to a spiritual journey. But he said religiously, so I'll say religiously based on what the caller said. Brother Ahwar, the mic is yours.
Right. I want to bring out right quick what Paul said. Brother Paul was great. He had some great advice and wisdom because he came from the death to the light, the calling. When Israel was half dead and they were being called back. So he had that advice to give to those that, because there's going to be situations where you have a wife and you may be called to wake up, but she's not. So what do you do? And y'all not going to get along. So I'm going to read this. This is 1 Corinthians 7. It says, 12. It says, but to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother have a wife that believeth not, and she be pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the woman which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife. Then it says, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. So that if you believe and your woman don't, her credit is going to go through you. Okay, the Most High dealing with you. It's like a protection. That protection will be around because you believe. Everybody's going to be protected. You, and if you have children with or whatever, then it says, by the husband. Elsewhere, your children unclean, but not are they holy. Then it says, but if the unbelieving depart, because you're going to have that conversation. Because you got some people, man, they deal with all kind of crazy holidays, deal with all kind of different things. You got some people that are in relationships with women that are in the witchcraft. You got to sit down and say, listen, this is what I'm dealing with. Okay? This is what I want you to deal with. Okay? I know you don't believe like I believe, but I'm not tolerating this, and that. Now, if you still want to deal with me and I'm not tolerating this and that, we could deal. If not, the scripture says if she want to leave, so I'm not dealing. I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with. She's not going to be held accountable for that. So that's how I would deal with it, according to the way the scriptures is. And I pass the mic.
All right, that was the voice of Brother Ahwar. We're going to check on, see if anyone else has, and then we're going to come back to the panel and Sister Huldah. I still hear you. You're still over there, and as well as Sister Ashanti. We're going to come to you in a moment. So, Brother Sal, I got to I don't even have this written down. I got to remember everybody's name out of my head. So if I stutter or pause for a bit, I'm trying to recall. You understand? Brother Sal, are any more hands in the air?
All right, nobody else is press number 1 at this time, but we have a lot of people still checking out the show via phone and via Skype. Again, if you want to chime in, it's press number 1, and we'll add you in the conversation. We were kind of winding down, though, to the last few minutes of the show. So, again, if you want to chime in, you can press number 1, and we'll add you in the conversation. If you're on social media land, it's dial that number, 319-527-6239. Oh, somebody press number 1. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to 716-563. You're live on the air. Oh, that call just dropped. As soon as I enter the call, it just dropped right away. Call back in. Just call back in, and we'll bring you back in. Once again, the number's 319-527-6239. Press number 1, and we'll add you in the conversation. Again, we wanted down to the last few minutes of the show. So, Emunah, you go ahead.
All right, we're going to start to do our little wrap-up, our little wind-down, and we got a good amount of panelists, so we're going to start from now. We've said things. We've brought out some information. We've said a lot of points. And to summarize, if you can, everybody briefly, summarize your thoughts, your processes. And, again, what would you advise in this position for, the male or the female as it relates to, and I know we had a lot of advice, so we're just going to possibly reiterate or reaffirm some of the things that we've already said as it relates to broken pockets, broken homes, and the question of who's leading. So I'm going to come to Sister Huldah right now for the wind-down summary. Sister Huldah, the mic is yours.
Shalom. So we had a lot of interesting dialogue. And I think from my perspective, to wrap it up, I think when you're dealing with a person, especially with finances, because everybody uses, as the sister earlier said, the curse of the situation as the launching pad for not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And as many curses as there are from being exiled and not keeping the Father's law, statutes, and commandments, there are blessings that come when we begin to do so. And so when we're keeping Yah's statutes and commandments, then we should be seeing those blessings. So if we're not seeing them, and even in a financial sense, not meaning we're rich, but there is a way, which was mentioned earlier, to prosper, in a sense, in Babylon or in the land of your captivity. And it has to do with keeping Yah's commandments until he releases you from that captivity, but also putting yourself in a position to become self-reliant. And so reevaluating what is important financially, how you're living, what's important, is it physical, is it material, and how to adjust that into the scope of Torah. A lot of people don't like to hear that something close to the life of a home for somebody that is trying to raise their own food and grow their own crops is the closer way to a Torah-style way of life, and it really alleviates a lot of pressure. So for men who don't have, let's say, education and can't go out and make the money that's necessary, that man, no matter where he is, can garden box and get in his backyard, can raise food for his family, and can provide in a way that's much closer to that way of Torah. So to say that you cannot do what is necessary to provide for your family is in captivity is not true. It's really coming from laziness. And the first thing, a man who does not care for his family is worse than an infidel. So if you can't physically provide with the money that runs this system, then going out and buying some seeds and some soil and planting so that you can supplement some part of your family's income in a way to not only show that you are responsible for your family, but also take that weight off. If that's not what a man is willing to do at a base level, then that's not a man who's actually walking in and keeping Torah, because that is what we can all do. It's something where we can all start. And I believe that's a very good starting point. As for women who are in that position, the position she should be in and striving toward, and her family should be striving toward, is a position very close to that of the Proverbs 31 woman, where she is operating in her correct role and she is supporting her family, and her family is in turn supporting her. And that's all I have.
All right. Very good advice. Very good advice. Very good advice, Sister Huldah. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you join us again in times to come. Add a lot to the conversation. So I just want to say thank you once again, and definitely continue to hold on as we wrap up. Sister Ashanti, you're another one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us hear your closing thoughts on this conversation.
Oh, just to let you know, Emunah, just to let a lot of gentlemen, we do have some callers standing by, but it's like, whenever you're ready.
All right,
take the callers.
Okay, since that's done, take the callers. Brother Sad, go to the phone line.
All right, let's go to the phone lines then. Let's do that. Let's go to 313-784. You're live in there.
Shalom.
Hey,
Shalom. How you doing? Peace to everybody on the phone. Yeah, I just was hearing the conversation. Like I said, I could have chimed in earlier, but I didn't really know what the topic was, so I didn't want to be saying nothing off key. But like I said, as far as what I heard and what the sister was saying, as far as a lot of times some of the people just woke up to this understanding of their identity, or of the Torah or whatnot, and the Tanakh and the whole as a whole. Sometimes especially here in America, where I feel maybe the curse is sometimes stronger than the other four corners. They trying to apply their lifestyle on the Torah, and like I said, if you got these life-giving principles, then with this, like I said, where the Torah says, once you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, you're gonna reap the blessings. So what little we can do, I guess, in captivity, to this situation is I guess what is settled, and back to the land or whatnot. You're going to have to be a man and really really be a man and do the things that you're saying. You can't really blame being trifling on the curse. It's like, come on now, you're going a little bit too far
we're still trying to live with the ways of this place and with the ways of how we're going to live in the future when we restore it back to this. So, like I said, it sounds like a good show, and, y'all just keep your strength out here.
All right, now we're heading from the masculine principle. Thank the caller for calling in. Brother Sal, anyone else on the line? Feel free to let us know.
Yeah, we have one more caller. Hold on. We have 716-563. You're live on air. Uh, 716-563. Can you hear me? All right, 716, going once. 716, going twice. All right, 716. I know technical difficulties. Yep, technical difficulties. All right, you go ahead, Emunah.
All right, no problem. We're going to go to our sister Ashanti right now for her closing statements on the conversation. For those who just joined us and wondering what in the world are these people talking about, broken pockets, broken homes, who leads? And the conversation kind of went, in different little spaces within this title. It's not really like, you went off topic. We just explored different aspects of it, from the broken home to the finances. So it's definitely a good conversation. So, Sister Ashanti, let's hear your closing thoughts.
I have a few closing thoughts. Broken pockets, broken homes, who leads? I see this as cause and effect. I see broken pockets because you have broken homes. The homes are broken because the leadership is out of whack. Leadership. I like to quote the Messiah, for those who believe in the Messiah. This is Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10, verse 45. It says, for even the son of Adam did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many. When we have the attitude of servitude, everything falls into place. You know what I mean? When we understand headship, things fall into place. And to reiterate what Sister Mayanah said about love being reciprocal, you don't have to tell a woman to submit. What you put in is what you're going to get out. So whatever you show, present, or how you conduct yourself, that's going to be reciprocated to you. A lot of men want control of a woman. And you know what? I'm going to be transparent here. I and my husband, we were spiritual and religious at the beginning, but I'm the one who came over to Torah first. So I didn't tell him he had to do what I did. I just led by example. You know what I mean? He saw what I was doing and came along and started asking questions. So a lot of the times he doesn't have to tell me to do something because he's exhibiting to me love, protection, listening to my opinion. He's there for me, comforting me, shoulder to cry on, or just a friend to talk to. I reciprocate to him what he's given to me. Okay? That's pretty much how, if any man wants to control a woman. And what I mean by control a woman is not to control her being a dictator to her, meaning if you want someone to show you certain things, you will show them first as a leader, someone who goes first, someone who sets the precedent. So I was out on these streets, not homeless, but in the secular rap world. And in the secular rap world, for a female, you get to take any pick of your man at any given time. And because my husband came in and started showing me some things, doing some things for me, just wanted to spend time with me, he didn't need to say, stop receiving calls from those men. I just stopped calling them. You know what I'm saying? And because of his behavior, his actions, his conduct, wanted to get to know me and spend time with me, right? So that led to us having a home together. So our home is together. You know what I mean? Because we have a friendship. And because he understands me and I understand him. We see where we have strengths. We see where we have weaknesses. Where I'm weak, he's strong. Where I'm strong, he's weak. You know what I mean? We help each other. And that's why we don't have broken pockets. He says, Shanti, you're the one who's good with getting things financially together. This is what we have in the pot. I know what he likes. I know what he doesn't want to spend money on. I know what he does want to spend money on. So he trusts me with the finances because I'm not going to go out and spend money on Michael Kors and things of that nature. You know what I mean? When SMUD and PG&E need to be paid. So he acknowledges that, right? And lastly, I just want to reiterate, coming into this walk is not easy. However, we get new information, we get newly excited. If you don't get educated, you're going to allow yourself to be manipulated. Get educated for yourself. This goes to men and women. Now, I'm not a woman who says, I'm going to be the ultimate teacher and I'm going to usurp authority. No. My man leads, I'm perfectly fine with that because he's a hell of a man. I will stand on one leg and bark like a dog for my man because, because he's that cool to me. You know what I mean? He's that cool to me. He's that loving to me. I happily reciprocate to him. So get educated, and you won't be manipulated. Also, dysfunction. We come from dysfunction. We are taught, especially among the African or black community, that dysfunction is normal. No, it is not normal. Anytime there's dysfunction, that means you're not functional. Don't let anyone tell you that counseling is off the table because we try to tell people, all you need to do is, quote, unquote, go to church. No, the Father has given man knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and ability to help us serve one another. So take advantage of those services in order to learn how to be functional along with getting educated in these scriptures. And therefore, the family structure will be put back together again, and there will be no more broke pockets, right? When we understand the roles and be happy in those roles. I yield. Hold up. Before I yield, I want to say thank you, Sal, for letting me get on. It was nice conversing with you, Sister Emunah. Mayanah, I've been following y'all, listening to y'all for a hot second. I admire what y'all do. You guys are strong women of the way, and we need more women like us to speak out in a loving manner. Nice conversing with you, Huldah. Nice conversing with you, Brother Ahwar. I yield.
Nice to meet you, too. Sister Ashanti, it's been a power panel this evening. Definitely a lot of people coming on their A game and bringing a lot of information and showing that they're doing work, study, and ministry in their respective areas. So definitely, Brother Sal, you pulled together a nice one. I got to give it to Brother Sal because, I've been a little bit slacking on my on my extra panelists. But Brother Sal came through this evening. We're going to see Brother Ahwar. What's going on? And again, Sister Ashanti, you're welcome at any time. You brought, your summary was decent. It was real good. A lot of good, interesting points, and I appreciate your transparency. Brother Ahwar.
Yeah.
In closing statements, Brother Ahwar, what you got going on in closing?
Yeah. I want to say, hopefully this is good. These are some good therapeutic conversations, and hopefully we'll cover a lot of different areas and different situations because, everybody got a different situation. Like me, using myself, I'm a type of person where I don't, because Sister Mayanah said something about when you give love, sometimes you expect me to get love back. And maybe that was my problem where I like to give it, and the only thing I ask back is appreciation. I don't really like all that, tension and all that. I like when you show me you appreciate it, that makes me give more, and I love loving a woman. Some men don't like doing that. Some men are raised different. some people are raised without love in the house. So there's a lot of dynamics to it. So we got a lot of work to do and a lot of discussion to go over because a lot of us come from different households. I come from a household of love, so I don't get a lot of that negative stuff in my house or dealt with negative. I've picked up negative women because they come from that household where they used to being abused or getting their tooth knocked loose. I'm not, I don't come from that, so I don't really get that. But hopefully, as we go on, we'll have more discussions like that where we can cover a lot of other, attributes to these different situations. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to pass the mic.
Thank you so much for sharing, Brother Ahwar. And always you bring a personal touch to the conversation. And I appreciate you saying it's therapeutic. That's what we aim to do here at Debate Talk for You, the Relationship Challenge. We aim to bring this collective thought of therapy and removing the stigma of talking about what really ails us so that we could get to the bottom of it. And so if anyone knows what I do, I talk about healing. Like, if this girl say healing one more time, I would keep saying it, healing, 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 because that's what we need. Sister Mayanah, and conversation, respectful. And Brother Sal, I want to thank you always for creating the platform that the conversation doesn't get too out of pocket. It's respectful, and people can walk away with their dignity intact. So thank you, as always, Brother Sal. Sister Mayanah, your closing thoughts.
Thank you for that. I'm going to try to keep it brief because I think that you've had quite a bit covered today. And in summary, I want to echo your statement that this has been quite the power panel, and I am appreciative and grateful for everyone's contributions. Always bringing fire, and I appreciate that. There's a good balance that the masculine energy brings, and to have that type of consistency is important. The sisters that came, again, my gratitude to you to hear so many women being vocal and having the very sage advice of saying that although you will find some men that will tell you that you cannot teach, there's no law against literacy. I'm not even supporting this idea that you cannot impart information to one another or discuss our culture among each other, but understand this, that no matter how you feel about that statement, the one thing that is without question is that literacy is not unlawful. There's no one who's going to tell you that you're not allowed to read. Comprehension is something that you have the ability to do. Many of you can read quite well on your own, and you are encouraged to do so. With this idea of dysfunction, I think that it was brought to the table, and it was something that we broke bread over because it was very important to reflect on our condition. And we are broken people. We have many maladaptive behaviors, and we are reactionary in many ways. And there's a degree of dysfunction that we aren't willing to be honest about these patterns and features that undermine stability. That's why in the promotion that I did, I included the phrases of sustainable solutions, because very often we talk about recommendations, we have suggestions, we have ideas, and we intellectualize about things, but we need for these things to be sustainable into the future, so that this is generational, and that we can reproduce this with our children. That these are not things that only live in these intellectual spaces, all of these hypothetical, conceptual spaces, but instead, these are things that we can take out of the concept and into the practicality and apply them and reproduce them, so that we can do these restoration efforts that we keep talking about. This discourse has been pregnant with concern regarding the sustainable solutions to the realities of the Hebrew family. But the keys to these, as we heard, come from balance, reciprocity, reality, accountability. The Brother Ahwar was able to pick up on this discussion of reciprocity in the ideas of love. You heard our brother share with us that while he was planting and giving all of this love, there was no expectation that it was returned in the same package. That loving the woman, he didn't expect for it to come back in that way, but he did expect something. That reciprocity was there. He only wanted to feel appreciated. And having these discussions about how we feel appreciated in these moments, how our efforts get appreciated and become currency that we can spend, to invest into our families and into our futures, is an important conversation that we have to continue to have. Our sister Ashanti shared with us and I'm going to wrap it up here, the willingness to allow the man to lead. That this is something that doesn't have to be pulled out of the woman. When we look at the judgment, the woman will desire her husband. But her desires into her husband. This is something that we are willingly yielding. This is what submission is. Submission is not subjugation. It is not enslavement. It is the woman is willing to do this, that she is giving this to him. She desires him. And it's often translated that he will in turn rule over her, but he rules in her. And that means that it's already inside of her, as Ashanti described so eloquently, so beautifully, so elegantly, that she will do this because he brings it out in her. It's inside of her that he rules inside. He's in her heart. He's not somewhere on the outside raining down his demands upon her, but instead he's on the inside where he resides, and she's very willingly expressing it on the outside. And so these are the things that I think that in closing we can consider when we are talking about the reality of our broken pockets and our broken homes and how we want to restore that condition. And with that, I yield the mic.
Awesome show. I want to thank everybody for chiming in and allowing it to be so. I wanted to say something shortly as it relates to what Sister Mayanah said concerning sustainable solutions. And I have 2 words. Just do it. Just do it and continue doing it. Get the information, implement the information, and do it. And this is what I can say. As I am a mother, I am at home. My husband holds it down in his sphere, and I hold it down in my sphere. And it's not easy, but to turn a ship around that's going in the wrong direction, someone has to absorb that. And we have to be willing, as those people who are in the gap, to absorb whatever we need to absorb so that the next generation will be set aright. And I've heard it said before in this conversation that some people think it's just going to be, bam, I picked it up, woo, I'm super Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. You have to take a look at the landscape, what is wrong with the community, but also what is wrong with you personally. Because sometimes we take what's wrong with the whole community and superimpose it upon ourselves, and woe is me. And the reality is, what, like Ahwar said, some of the issues that others are faced, he's not familiar with because that wasn't his reality. And I can relate to that because some of the things I see going on, I'm like, what in the world? So there are different spheres. There's the individual, and then there's the collective, and then there's the greater collective. And we have to be able to have these conversations, put these things in perspective. And I believe it was Sister Huldah who said, there are things you can do. Get a pot and plant. That will teach you patience. We have brothers, some in the Yisrael Family Farm. Shout out to Brother Connaught, California. He'll tell you his story. He's come on my YouTube channel. He shared his story. We have Brother Asa in Georgia. These are people, these are family units who are showing you how to do this. And it's on so many different levels. One has acreages and the other has a backyard, but they're still being thought leaders. And one thing that they all have in common is that they're doing it. They're not just talking about it. And so I would leave you with that. Just do it. But you have to first know what you're trying to do. And that's where the research, conversation, and exchange come in so that when we go into the spaces of implementation, we're not making unnecessary mistakes. So with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I'm going to give it back. Oh, and I have a course coming out, Solonomic, as it relates to self-improvement, as it relates to healing our injurious parts within us. So stay tuned for that. Look for social media as well as YouTube and all those different spaces where we're going to start to push out. Oh, yeah, and one more thing. Please support Debate Talk for You. I know there's spaces where they say please is a feminine word that males don't say. So I'll say it for Brother Sal. support the platform. If you're enjoying the platform, if you benefit from the platform, if we don't give back, and this is kind of what we're talking about, feminine, masculine principles, if you don't give back, it's not going to be reciprocal, and someone is going to be taking the loss. So definitely keep that in mind as you continue to listen, enjoy, and share. Brother Sal, the mic is yours.
Yeah. Shout out to Sal Showtime.
The Almighty Spawn.
I am
God of music.
The Almighty Black God Spawn. And this that debate talk for you. We got that straightforward truth. We can see both sides of the end. You can say the same or change all your views. This that debate talk for you. We got that straightforward truth. We can see both sides of the end. You can say the same or change all your views. This that debate talk. For you. We got that straight talk. The truth. So what you waiting on? If you ain't trying to learn, then what you hating for? Say no more. Yeah. Speak your peace, leave in peace, and don't be violent. Don't be swayed, don't get played like a violin. Ain't no fussing, just discussions in the lion's den. Hot feet burning up like a fireman. The subject matter's obvious, though it can vary. We discuss a lot of religion and politics. Keep it straight like a hockey stick. Learn as I listen in, and I'ma win. This that debate talk for you. We got that straightforward truth. We can see both sides in the end. You can say the same or change all your views. This that debate talk for you. We got that straightforward truth. We can see both sides in the end. You can say the same or change all your views. Yeah.
The Almighty
talk for you radio. Yeah.
God of music.